Oh, here we
Ooh
go, guys.
la la.
Hi, I'm Day again. Should be Groundhog Day. I'm so tired of this lefty craziness and BS that continues to permeate. You know, Stuart, Marjorie Taylor Greene is when Joe Biden a number of years ago stood in Congress and gave a State of the Union. Marjorie Taylor Greene did something that you're not really supposed to do in Congress, and that she called him out in the middle of a speech. It was a little bit off. As a person on the right, I believe that there's a decorum, and she should have kept it. And she went after him, and Biden responded in a certain way, made him look good, whatever. But the left vilified, and the Democrats vilified Marjorie Taylor Greene for bad code of conduct. She's a nutcase. She's a lunatic. Well, apparently she's not a lunatic anymore, Stuart, because she announced her resignation. She's not going to return as a Congress lady, and she's stepping down. And folks from Jimmy Kimmel to you name it, all the CNN, MSNBC lovers are saying, welcome to reality. What do you mean, welcome to reality? Why? Because she denounced Trump. That, ladies and gentlemen, is their world of reality, and you're living in it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rant Network. I'm David Solomon. He's Stuart Brisgell. What we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern is a podcast all about life, politics, culture, shenanigans, you name it, and so much more. We love to dive into the craziness and the stupidity that is what we're dealing with today in our world and the U.S. virtual reality that we like to talk about. So sit back today, ladies and gentlemen, because it's another one of those rants where you're gonna just go, why are we wasting our time? Look, Stuart, I'm not gonna say that it's only a left thing. We saw this with John Fetterman when John Fetterman ran against Dr. Oz back in as Pennsylvania senator, and they denounced, Fetterman is a bumbling fool. He had a stroke. He couldn't speak. The way he dresses. But the moment that Fetterman, was went from just kind of shifted from his party, the right embraced him. So it's not a lefty thing. But no one says, welcome to reality to John Fetterman. It's like, hey, John, you're allowed to speak your mind. But apparently on the left, you aren't allowed to speak your mind unless you are in line with the left. Stuart?
Yep. It's like American politics feels more like a reality TV show. And less like civic lessons, but more like a twisted plot. Not long ago, the Democrats were celebrating Liz Cheney, a lifelong conservative, ironclad family, daughter of the former vice president, may he rest in peace, known for voting with Trump's positions more than 90% of the time. But because she broke ranks, Donald Trump, overnight, she went from villain to hero in the eyes of the Democratic commentators, who labeled her as a hawk, suddenly embraced her as the new fleet welcome Democrat. It's not a twist. It's strange. The Democrat political machine have turned their attention now onto Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yep, MTG. The same congresswoman that once treated as an embodiment of everything wrong with the Republican Party is now being selectively elevated and spotlighted by, as you said, Jimmy Kimmel. Even begrudgingly welcomed into certain political usefulness because her public rift with Trump becomes louder and more dramatic and more politically valuable. Let's be clear. MTG has built her brand on a fire rage rebellion. For years, she's been described as a Democrat as the hard right fringe, the cuckoos on the right. Suddenly, every time she rants about Trump, she suggests she's rifting and drifting, and of course, isn't fighting hard enough. Those same Democrats who amplify her voice replay her clips and quietly smile behind the scenes. Why, David? Because when political winds shift, even yesterday's foes become convenient megaphones. What do you think, David? Do you think she's scolding leaders of her own party? Do you think she's dramatic, intensifying because she's officially resigned in a monologue on TV. She gets on camera, points the finger, the volume raises. It launches everyone into a tirade how Trump isn't being presidential enough and how if you're not loyal enough, you ain't getting his nod. Because the political elite, David, were used to the wink, wink, nod, nod, just like the DNC. You brought up Fetterman. Fetterman, and again, I'm not a fan of Fetterman, but he's a straightforward guy. He tells you as it is. He's not capable of sugarcoating anything. He's telling you how he feels. He thinks he's doing what's best for Pennsylvanians. Look, he's a zillionaire, right? But for MTG to go and critique Trump's, that is a political gold medal for the DNC. David?
Look, Stuart, I'll tell you. I'll tell you where it's gotten to. The Trump derangement syndrome that we got here is just insane. I mean, I'll quote you what Jimmy Kimmel said. He goes, "There's going to be one less puddle of sweat on the floor mat of the congressional gym because Marjorie Taylor Greene, yet another Trump superfan, learns that loyalty to him goes only one way." And it's interesting because you know what? If you read a lot of the books that came out after Obama, it was the same story. People complained about if you either were with Obama or you were against Obama. This is how politics work. And Jimmy Kimmel, you sit there on your stage and you laugh and you mock Donald Trump and you say, ha ha, I win, ha ha ha. At the end of the day, dude, that's how politics has always worked. It's always worked this way. You wash my hand, I wash your hand. You want my vote, you got to give me something. And if you didn't learn anything from the latest shutdown of Congress, that's how it works. Quid pro quo. That's politics. It's ugly. I agree. But to sit there and to go, wow, it's only Trump that you have to be loyal to? Are you kidding me? If you weren't loyal to Biden, what do you think happened? If you don't get today's Obama's okie dokie, you think Kamala Harris would have run? Do you see what goes on in your own media when they say, wow, Obama did not endorse Mamdani? What does that mean? That's how the game works. And Jimmy Kimmel is trying to convince you that Trump is the autocrat. And if you don't kiss the ring, you're out. Hey, that has been politics forever. If you didn't kiss Nancy Pelosi's ring, you didn't get what you wanted. If you don't kiss Mike Johnson's ring, you don't get what you want. That is political reality. And Jimmy Kimmel is trying to tell you that it's only a one-sided game. And anybody who's with Trump is nuts. Now, I'm trying to understand something here. Donald Trump may not be doing things in the presidential way. Basically, you want Obama, Biden-esque politics? Sure. You want to see sugarcoating and sweetness and lovely words and great speeches with no substance behind it? Sure. Great. Trump doesn't do that. He told you from 2016 on he's not going to be like that. You learned that from 2017 to 2021 that he's going to be one of those different presidents. But you know what, Stuart? It's very funny because the same criticism happens with a lot of other presidents you see around the world. President Milei in Argentina, the same thing. He doesn't rule like a politician. He's a businessman. And that's how he wants to run Argentina. Now, you may not like Trump's ways, but boy, oh boy, I'm going to ask the left one question. You're bitching and moaning and this and that, but no one did more in the first year of a president's uh, term than what Trump did. Look what he's accomplished. Look what he's changed. Good and bad. You could say whatever you want,
Yep.
but he's done something. And Jimmy Kimmel and the left have nothing to say other than, you're a bad man. You're a bad man. You're a bad man. This is what I was talking about at the beginning, the Groundhog Day. You've learned nothing. You see what goes on with ICE. Let's go against. Like this is what Jimmy Kimmel is happy about. We oppose ICE. We oppose criminal decriminalization. We oppose what Trump is doing about drugs. We oppose what he's doing with the economy. We oppose. We oppose. We oppose. Good for you. In the meantime, you want Marjorie Taylor Greene on your side? Okay. How did it go with Liz Cheney, by the way, when she was there? Hey, did you guys win anything with her? Good luck with MTG.
And the Washington Post rails Trump Marjorie Taylor Greene breakup, shake up MAGA. Mom
Please.
and dad are getting separated. You read no one second, David. I gotta read these headlines. I've never owned him anything. I never owed him anything. MTG responds to Trump with a jab. GOP, MTG hits back at Trump. I've never owed him everything. The headlines and the comments that are on ABC, NBC, The New Republic, and The Guardian are absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
You're right. Where did the politicians get with Cheney? Nothing. Liz Cheney imploded politically. And if she didn't get her actual pardon from we don't know who, some auto pen, she would likely be in big doo-doo. You cannot, you can't sit here and throw rocks at glass houses and expect the windows not to break. This president, different than a lot of other presidents, very publicly demands people to fall in line. You brought up Nancy Pelosi. She as well, don't follow the line, I'm going to kill you. That's how come she's worth $120 million. Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Don't look at me, not me. Look at him. It's all him. And this is what the Democrats have constantly done in politics. They say the other party is the boogeyman when they themselves are presenting Manchurian candidates that laugh like hyenas and then blame gender politics on why that she couldn't get elected. Quoting Michelle Obama from 10 days ago. Just to bring that into the mix. Because Michelle Obama, no, 1 second. Because Michelle Obama believes that politics and women just don't mix. Maybe now she's going to go and start saying about how Marjorie Taylor Greene got ostracized by Donald Trump because she's a woman. There's your next headlines. I'm trying to bring a point up, David.
You know what, Stuart? The problem.
But you don't like that?
No,
I think it's a great headlines. I think we should write headlines for NBC and ABC.
Oh no, I don't. No, please God, no. But you know what, Stuart? You hit a really sensitive nerve here, Stuart, because you see the left. It's all about stomping feet, getting what they want. When it just. But when I look at and I hear what Jimmy Kimmel says. And all these talk show hosts, it's you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned anything, right? The United States of America, they're plotting right now because look, Trump's ratings have dropped. Yeah, they dropped, and it always happens like that in any president. Okay, guys, Obama, Biden, Bush's, Reagan's, things go up, things go down. When the economy's tough, when people have a hard time, it's part of the problem. But Trump said it very clearly. He goes, I got to fix a mess. And it hurts, okay? Because the Biden administration's policies are still there. And as much as he's trying to reverse it, you can't reverse a steam train. You can't turn a boat on a dime. It takes time. And unfortunately, people are pained and don't understand. And the Democrats are sitting here going, yay, we can blame Trump again for something that Biden and Kamala Harris put in place. This is going to take time. Now, 2026 is rolling around the corner, Stuart. We're barely 5 weeks away from the new year, which means we are we're not even 12 months to the next election. And I'll tell you something. The Trump derangement syndrome is going to be amped up like no one's business. That's all you're going to hear. And if voters are really, really paying attention, they're going to go to the ballot box and say, screw you, Dems. You did nothing for me for 2 years. When I needed your help, you did nothing for me for 4 years as president. And for the last 2 years, all you did was bitch about a president who knocked out tax on tips, who lowered costs of living, and is likely to send these crazy tariff checks, which I find hilarious. Let's see what happens. Stuart, last word to you, my friend.
I don't think it's the last word. I think it goes down to popularity, and that the president, Donald Trump, 2025, or go Trump 2016, you're not going to get anyone giving him top marks, right?
No, of
And
course.
you know, he is not going to come up with Kennedy 72, Obama 68, Trump's at 47. Even if Trump actually is above 47, the left media is controlling the survey. So bottom line, Trump 2025 will likely not, you know, overlap or go over these other presidents. But I want to remind you that Biden's highest was 50.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on Friday. Hey, listen, folks, we love you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you for the applause. We do appreciate it.